Check 1, 2.
Okay. Here we go. Get ready. Right, wheel. Go. What you just seen was called a wheel. That was to change the direction if the enemy came to you in a different direction. The object of this wheel is to keep the horses close together. If the enemy spotted a gap between two horses, they would aim for that gap and destroy the entire line. They would get to the rear of the other soldiers. So it was imperative that they maintain the closeness. Good troopers, by the time they got done training, their knees were black and blue. Everybody moved in by files, which is 1, 2s, which is 2, or 4. They worked as one unit. If you'll notice when they make a turn, all turns are squared. By that I mean the horses to the back turn in the same spot where the horses in front of them turn. They would be doing formations to the front, to receive an attack or to repel an attack. You'll see some of them have sabers. The 10th Missouri were issued sabers when they left St. Louis headed for Memphis, Tennessee. Before they got there, most of them threw the sabers away. All they were good for was for grabbing over a fire. Nobody wanted to attack somebody with a pistol or with a saber. Bad odds. So the sabers mostly were discarded. The myth of a lot of saber battles throughout the Civil War never happened. There were 2 major saber battles that I can think of. A few minor battles, but most of the battles were not done with sabers. The horses you're seeing are pretty much all battle experienced horses. These horses, most of them have been doing this for 8, 10, 12 years. There's a couple new ones. Some of the boys you're seeing out here in front of you have been doing this since they were 3 and 4 years old. A few of them have been in the movie with Mel Gibson called The Patriot. One called Ride with the Devil with Jewel and Tobey Maguire. Numerous documentaries that were just filmed recently that you'll be seeing coming out soon on the 150th cycle. For most units, as Mr. Brule will attest, as he's usually on the opposite side of the field, making these maneuvers and keeping this closeness is very difficult for horse and rider. Very hard to make a tight wheel with every horse's nose within a few inches of each other. Even though the sabers were not a big part of the Civil War, every trooper had to be trained to use the saber. In a few minutes, we're going to show you some of the exercises that each trooper had to learn with the saber. Then we're going to show you some of the maneuvers they learned with the gun. We'll be firing the gun here in a few minutes too. This is not a Civil War maneuver. This is done to demonstrate the training on these horses. The opening and closing of plows, and crossing one horse in front of the other. Very difficult to train. This is a maneuver as they were going into battle or repelling attack. When General Sherman left Washington, D.C. in 1865, he had a little over 10,000 cavalrymen. He had 106 wagons and about 4 dozen artillery pieces. The line of cavalry and wagons was 32 miles long. That's from here to St. Charles. When the guys in the front were eating breakfast, the guys in the back were eating supper. That's how long this cavalry line was.
Counter march by the right flank.
This maneuver is done. If the enemy appears in your rear, this was the fastest, safest way to turn your men around without twisting and turning the horses as quickly as possible. When we're done with the demonstration, I'll be glad to field any questions or answer any questions that you may have. These gentlemen all work every day. So this training is something that's been going on for years. We have everything from lawyers to professional, almost every profession in the known to mankind represented here today.
Yeah, you could tell if you had another one, it'd blow up every time you go for a sound. Oh, yeah. But I learned the trick there. It sits right in you. Yeah, you do.
I'll bring a stanchion out. No, let's do this stanchion.
Am I throwing or are they?
As you can see, this stanchion is representative of an enemy soldier. Even though the average cavalryman during the Civil War was 5'7", weighed 119 pounds, and was 19 years old. I think that's the average for both armies. The Confederates were a little bit younger because they needed more help. We're going to demonstrate one of the maneuvers that the cavalry had to learn with a saber. Absolutely, Lieutenant. Let's go.
I'm happy that wasn't my head.
It's pretty easy to hit somebody that's standing there, but as you would imagine, if you were coming at somebody with a horse at a full run, swinging a 7-pound saber, most men would not stand there and let you hit them in the face. So we're going to try this again at a moving target. See if it's a little more difficult. Sometimes this works, sometimes it don't. So you either need to encourage him or help him along a little bit, because not too many people can do this. Are you ready? Here we go.
Throw it.
St.
Louis was found out how many supervisors were down there. They didn't know.
This last maneuver that we do with the saber is called taking of the head. This one's pretty dangerous. This is where two horses come across the field at a fairly fast speed. The object is to pass this bag, which represents an enemy's head, from one saber to the next without stabbing yourself in the leg or your other rider, or without killing your horse. It's a little bit dangerous. Again, most of the time it works. Very hard, very difficult to do, requires a lot of training. Let's give them a little help here so we can get this one.
You have a guy down here?
You ready?
It's going to be hard for me to capture this way.
Really
It's a lot harder than it looks. It's very dangerous. One mistake hurts somebody real bad. Gonna do it this time? Go!
Everything they do is hard.
One more time. Pass it back. Don't miss. Ready? Go!
Daddy, get on!
Okay.
Very good.
Good stuff. The guy with the cigar.
Both of these boys have been doing this since they were 3 years old. This has been I think they're in their mid-20s now. Happen to be my two sons, so I'm a little partial to them. Everybody out there is capable of doing it. These men have all been trained. They all do it. Just some of them at a little different speed than the others. Because it really hurts when you shove one of them sabers through your leg. It's really ugly when you do that. Plus it ruins their pants. We're going to set up and do a couple pistol shots now. You might want to go on the other side of that hay. Yeah, because there's some powder go by.
Pistol shot.
Let's see the booth.
Oh, let's watch and find out.
Sir, ma'am. Can't hear you. These two boys just did this. I've been doing this since they were 3 years old. They're my two sons, so I'm a little bit part of them. But everybody out here is capable of doing it. Every man out here on this field has done this one time or another. Sometimes it's different speed until they get ready. Them sabers going through your leg is very painful. And it ruins your pants. They're a little cautious about it. You know, legs heal up and the pants, you got to fix it. I'm going to show you some pistol shots. These pistols are replicas of the actual 44 and 36 caliber pistols that were used in the Civil War. This is a 44 caliber Remington pistol. They came available a little later in the war. Most of the early guns, in fact, this cavalry unit was issued single-shot horse pistols, which was like a little musketoon pistol. They quickly threw them away and were issued Star revolvers and then Colts. When they got the Colt revolvers, they were thrilled, and then when they got the Remington, that was like the Gatling gun. It was 6 shots, it was easy to reload, much easier, much safer for the men. The Colts had a tendency to change. When you fire one round, all 6 rounds would go off. Usually it'd blow your hand or a couple of fingers off. So when this gun became popular in late '62, this was quite a gun. This was quite an improvement. After we show you this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this artillery piece. We're going to have Mr. Gould step out here and tell us a little bit about this little bitty old cannon. It looks little. The effects that this gun would have on a crowd of people. We're going to show you this shooting.
Forward, that's a try. Forward. Jump.
Bullets are going to shoot.
Forward. Forward. Charge.
Let's get close enough to concussion pops.
What is it? So you don't like real bullets or anything like that?
Where would I put a real bullet?
I know, I think that might go. That guy's tall.
You're dead.
Smoke and all I got.
Those of you who buy this horse,
Smoke coming on that.
the local attorney here in the area. I think the horse knows he's
Is it a polar bear? Come on, Jimmy!
Let's put your camera right in front of mine.
Huh?
Glad you put your camera right in front of mine. Yeah, you did.
Oh, who did that?
Scoot back a step.
Oh, damn, wonder.
one more shot. What is bursting that balloon is the fire and their cream of wheat. Instead of bullet, we use cream of wheat, which when you fire these pistols, that cream of wheat will come about 6 feet out of the barrel of the gun, and it'll sting you. It won't kill you, but it'll sure sting you. And the powder will embed in your face. So there's still a certain amount of risk that's included in any kind of gunfire. It's always dangerous when you're handling a real weapon. So kids, don't try this at home. Okay. The last example we're going to give you here is a trooper. The horse had to be able to jump 24 to 30 inches without falling off the horse. This is always a little difficult because the horses sometimes don't know where they're supposed to jump, sometimes they do. We're going to try it by files first. 1 by 2. Take it away.
Oh, lugging up on him.
Come on, Zachary! Come on, Zach!
Deborah. Oh, you pushed it.
Lieutenant! That looks like a pack of little girls. You're going a little slow. What's the deal here?
I do, man.
Yes, sir.
Right? March.
Go. Now up. Back together. Much better. Put me in line, Lieutenant, for a few minutes. The Civil War claimed over 650,000 American lives. That's more Americans died in that 4.5 years than every war we have fought, all put together. Doesn't even come close. Today we're here talking about cavalry, and Mr. Gould just explained to you the effectiveness of this gun. That same time period, it's estimated that over 1.5 million horses died in the Civil War. The majority of those horses were artillery horses. This gun was pulled by 1 or 2 horses. The big guns that we haven't seen were pulled by 6 horse limbers. Thus, the artillery would aim at the other artillery horses. If they could take out their horses, that effectively disabled the gun and the gun gun. 1.5 million horses died in the Civil War. That's a whole lot of horses. 650,000 Americans is a lot of Americans. Today we're still fighting battles for freedom all over the world. This is the greatest country there is, folks. That's why we're here, that's why we do what we do. The memory of the men who have gone on before us in each war. We're here to keep that memory alive. We want these little guys sitting in front to know what this country went through. Keeping. In saying that, I mentioned a little bit ago, that if you were a soldier standing in front of a horse at a full run coming straight at you with either a pistol or saber swinging at you, the ramifications of just the fear that would instill in every single person would interpret shock and awe. I'm going to ask for some volunteers now to give you a chance to see what it's like to stand in front of a herd of charging horses with sabers coming at you. I'd kind of like some volunteers. Anybody that would like to try, you're welcome to come out here by me and form a line.
Volunteer.
Come on, guys, let's go! Let's go! Come on,
Come on, Dad. Come on. Cooper. Little guy stand out here. Come on out here. I won't hurt you too bad. The wolves are only about that big. Okay. Tighten it up here real tight. Okay, now nobody can move. You can't move forward. Everybody stand still. Tighten up real tight. Everybody just stand still. You'll be fine. If not, you'll get a good burial. You'll be all right.
Oh, that's good.
Now, you all got to keep in mind that you were soldiers in line. Okay. These horses are coming at you. Behind you would be a guy like me who saved you. Ran, I was there to chop on your leg. So you had your choice. Either I chopped on your legs or you stood and took these horses. Okay? Now, you promised me nobody's going to move. Boys?
Gotta stand.
Boys? Nobody moving? You might have had a rifle or a bayonet. But when you're running, it's hard to shoot.
Coming through.
Hey, Jenny.
Definitely too.
All right, if you dare.
Towards you.
Right now, though, they're just playing.
I promise them all a good burial.
Here they come. You guys ready? Yep. Here
Right
they come. They're coming faster.
I take the whole line.
Watch, watch, watch. Here they come. Oh!